Freedom and humility. Two kinds of freedom. There are two kinds of freedom to be found in our world: the freedom of desires and the freedom from desires. Our modern Western culture only recognizes the first of these, freedom of desires. It then worships such a freedom by enshrining it at the forefront of national constitutions and bills of human rights. One can say that the underlying creed of most Western democracies is to protect their people's freedom to realize their desires, as far as this is possible. It is remarkable that in such countries people do not feel very free. The second kind of freedom, freedom from desires, is celebrated only in some religious communities. It celebrates contentment, peace that is free from desires. It is remarkable that in such abstemious communities like my monastery, people feel free. Which type of freedom would you like? Two highly attained Thai monks had been invited to a lay supporter's home to take their morning meal. In the reception room where they were waiting, there was a decorative fish tank stocked with many species. The junior of the monks complained that it was contrary to the Buddhist principle of compassion to keep fish in an aquarium. It was like putting them in a prison. What had the fish done to deserve being incarcerated in a glass-walled jail? They should be free to swim in the rivers and lakes, going wherever they pleased. The second monk disagreed. It was true, he conceded, that those fish were not free to follow their desires, but living in a fish tank gave them freedom from so many dangers. Then he listed their freedoms. 1. Have you ever seen a fisherman drop a line into the aquarium in someone's house? No. So the first freedom for fish in a tank is freedom from the danger of fishermen. Imagine what it must be like for a fish in the wild. When they see a succulent worm or a juicy fat fly, they can never be sure whether it is safe to eat or not. They have, no doubt, seen many of their friends and relations tuck into a delicious-looking worm and then suddenly disappear upwards out of their life forever. For a fish in the wild, eating is fraught with danger and often ends in tragedy. Dinner is traumatic. All fish must suffer chronic indigestion due to anxiety complexes over every meal, and the paranoid ones would surely starve to death. Fish in the wild are probably psychotic. But fish in a tank are free from this danger. 2. Fish in the wild also have to worry about bigger fish eating them. In some decadent rivers these days, it is no longer safe to go up a dark creek at night. However, no owner would knowingly place fish in their tank that are given to eating one another. So fish in a tank are free from the danger of cannibal fish. 3. In the cycles of nature, fish in the wild sometimes go without food. But for fish in a tank, it must be like living next door to a restaurant. 2 times a day, a well-balanced meal is delivered to their door, more convenient even than a pizza home delivery since they don't have to pay. So fish in a tank are also free from the danger of hunger. 4. As the seasons change, rivers and lakes are subject to temperature extremes. They get so cold in winter they may be covered with ice. In summer they may be too warm for fish, sometimes even drying up. But the fish in a tank have the equivalent of reverse cycle air conditioning. The water temperature in the tank is kept constant and comfortable throughout the day and all year. So fish in a tank are free from the danger of heat and cold. 5. In the wild, when fish get ill, there is no one to treat them. But fish in a tank have free medical insurance. Their owner will bring a fish doctor on a house call whenever there's an ailment. They don't even need to go to a clinic. So fish in a tank are free from the danger of no health cover. The second monk, the elder of the two, summed up his position. There are many advantages to being a fish in an aquarium, he said. True, they are not free to follow their desires and swim here and there, but they are free from so many dangers and discomforts. The elder monk went on to explain that it is the same with people who live a virtuous life. True, they are not free to follow their desires and indulge here and there, but they are free from so many dangers and discomforts. Which type of freedom would you like? The free world. For several weeks, one of my fellow monks had been teaching meditation in a new maximum security prison close to Perth. The small group of prisoners had come to know and respect the monk well. At the end of one session, they began to ask him about his routine in a Buddhist monastery. "We have to get up at 4 every morning," he began. "Sometimes it is very cold because our small rooms don't have heaters. We eat only one meal a day, all mixed together in the one bowl. In the afternoon and at night time we can eat nothing at all. There is no sex or alcohol, of course, nor do we have television, radio or music. We never watch movies, nor can we play sport. We talk little, work hard, and spend our free time sitting cross-legged watching our breath. We sleep on the floor." The inmates were stunned at the Spartan austerity of our monastic life. It made their high-security prison appear like a 5-star hotel in comparison. In fact, one of the prisoners was so moved with sympathy for the plight of their monk friend that he forgot where he was and said, "That's terrible living in your monastery. Why don't you come in here and stay with us?" The monk told me that everyone in the room cracked up with laughter. So did I when he related the incident. Then I began to contemplate it deeply. It is true that my monastery is far more ascetic than the severest of prisons for society's felons. Yet many come to stay of their free will and are happy here, whereas many want to escape from the